Welcome back into the recruiting roundup on pros2preps.com. This is Jaylen Jewell, our high school football recruiting insider. My name is Jared Cohen, bringing you the latest in Arizona high school football recruiting year-round. And we have some news to bring you, some 2014 players, soon to be seniors, that are just blowing up of late in the recruiting world. One of those guys, a player that we mentioned a couple weeks ago, Jaylen Jewell out of Desert Vista, and he's getting some crazy attention from around the country.
He was just offered by Tennessee and Oregon State. Washington and the University of Arizona were the first offers. The kid's 6'7", 250 pounds, and he runs under a 5.0 in the 40. That's the reason he's starting to get attention. I also expect Wisconsin to offer the kid real soon. He's getting attention as a defensive lineman mostly, but offensive tackle could be a position in his future.
Jaylen Jewell, one of the biggest kids I've ever stood next to in person at this level. He is just a giant out at Desert Vista. Next one, out at Chaparral, Tyler Wiley has seen his recruitment pick up tremendously since the season ended last year, going to be a senior, and he just continues to blow up.
Both in-state schools have offered him, as well as Oklahoma and Washington. He's a kid that could play on either side of the ball. I talked to Coach Huffine, said maybe he could be a safety. Tyler wants to be a wide receiver. He went to Vegas to a 7-on-7 tournament, absolutely blew everyone out of the water as a wide receiver. Scout.com, I think we're going to release his rankings and make him a wide receiver, possibly get a 4-star.
4-star recruit, Tyler Wiley, and at the wide receiver position at that. Another wide receiver, Kadin Dabowski. We mentioned him as a sleeper prospect. Maybe he's coming back into town, was in Texas most recently. He's going to be at Sal Point next season, and he's starting to receive some Division I attention.
Got his first offer from New Mexico State. He's a kid, like you mentioned, was in Texas, had 1,200 yards receiving there, moved down to Sal Point, going to team with Cameron Dench, and should be dynamite down there in Tucson for Coach Panay.
Another wide receiver, but this one in the 2015 class, and could arguably be the top player in the 2015 class when all is said and done, Saguaro's Christian Kirk.
I don't think you can really argue it. I think he is the top player in that 2015 class. He was offered by Wisconsin and Oregon State. UCLA, ASU, and U of A were the first three to offer the kid. He's absolutely dynamite. Another kid that can play anywhere on the field, play receiver, play in the secondary. He's lights out for Coach Mons. He's going to get a lot more offers. He only has 5 now. Expect this kid to get 20, 30, 40 offers before it's all said and done.
And Coach Mons mentioned to me last season that he also has skills at the quarterback position because he's got a great arm, but he's not playing quarterback because there's a guy in front of him by the name of Luka Benzer who's really starting to get some Division I attention by the week.
He's another kid, already been offered by Air Force and by Navy. I talked to Mons. Arkansas State, Wisconsin is also showing a lot of interest in this kid. Threw for 2,800 yards, had 1,200 yards rushing. If he was a little bit taller, if he was 6'1", 6'2", you're talking about a kid that would have 30 offers right now. But because he's right at that 6-foot range, maybe 5'11", some of the schools are kind of shying away. But don't worry about it. This kid will sign a Division I letter of intent next February.
So you can get an idea that Saguaro is going to be a force to be reckoned with next season in the high school football world. So Jason, this is the time of year. There are a lot of camps, there's combines, 7-on-7, all the off-season things for players to really get their names out there. We're going to start doing this every week where Jason's going to give just a little recruiting tidbit on how to get recruited, something for parents to take note of, for prospects to learn from. This week, Jason, you have the floor.
You mentioned camps, combines, all that, and it's all good. It's all fun. I like it because the kids are out there competing against players, of high level, going to Vegas and competing in a 7-on-7 tournament and doing well. But the bottom line is, don't get too caught up in all of that stuff, because football is not played in a t-shirt and shorts. It's not played without offensive and defensive linemen getting in the quarterback's face. So, some of these kids say, oh, I scored 12 touchdowns in this passing league tournament. Yeah, that's fine, and you can get a judgment on a kid's athletic ability during that time. But at the same time, on Friday nights, there's not kids running around in t-shirt and shorts out there, at those events.
So there's a tidbit from Jason. We'll have more of those throughout the off-season. Make sure you keep an eye on those. Some great information coming from someone who not only covers this for a living, but also was recruited as a collegiate athlete and is also a coach at the college level. That's the recruiting roundup for this week. We'll continue to bring the latest in Arizona high school football recruiting. And until next week, this is Jaylen Jewell. I'm Jared Cohen. This has been the recruiting roundup on pros2preps.com.